Hello, my beautiful friends. I am so excited that you're here. My name is Kat. I'm an artist, founder of Create Magazine, and certified master coach. And today I want to talk to you about leaving your day job and becoming a full-time artist. I've been thinking a lot lately about my journey and the transition that I've had, and also the roller coaster that followed. And I want to share some tips that I've been thinking about hindsight, what I would love to know, what would support me, and how my transition would be so much smoother if I knew the following things. Because even though I thought I was really prepared and I was saving money and I was educating myself as much as I possibly could, if I'm being completely honest, when I look back, I definitely winged a lot of the transition, and that's okay. You can never fully know everything. You don't know what you don't know, and sometimes you just got to take the leap when your intuition is telling you to do so. And I don't believe there are mistakes in life. I think everything's a lesson, and there's a reason why we go through certain things. But today I want to help you, because maybe if you're listening to this or watching this, you're thinking about how great it would be to become a full-time artist, to do what you love full-time, and to leave your day job. Maybe you feel really drained, misunderstood, maybe for me, it was a lot of gossip and the environment really wasn't healthy for my mental health. So I want to share some things with you to support you if this is your dream. And let me know in the comments if you currently are self-employed, or if you are hoping to become self-employed soon, or you are really scared, but deep down you might really want it. Let me know where you're at. I would love to hear from you. So I left my day job almost 9 years ago, and my last place of employment was Capital One Bank. I was working in the call center, helping people with tech, password resets, and things like that. So it was really kind of mind-numbing, but the company actually was the best one that I've ever worked for. So shout out to Capital One. They definitely treated their employees really well at the time that I was there. And for me, I always wanted to be an artist, and I didn't know how I was gonna support myself. In fact, all throughout college, I struggled with so much anxiety about what I'm gonna do for income, because while a lot of other students had parents helping them, I was on my own, and I had no idea what I was going to do because I was already living off student loans. I had a few part-time jobs, and I was honestly struggling, and I was really scared because I didn't want to continue struggling or even be worse off than I already was. So if you've ever been in financial distress, you know how unsettling it is, and I'm pretty sure that for that whole time I was in a state of fight or flight during college and a few years after college. But you probably, maybe if you watch this channel or you listen to my podcast, you know my story. I've worked so many other jobs before that. I just couldn't find my place. I really just wanted to paint and work in a gallery or be part of the art world. And I honestly never thought it would be possible for me to be self-employed. One, I had no business background. Two, I didn't feel like I was good enough. And three, I didn't know anyone who was a self-employed artist or even creative. So right off the bat, I think if I would have listened to people, whether it was on a podcast or YouTube or read books, it would have helped me. I think the closest I came to was reading a book by Lisa Condon, but honestly, it was years later and I was already really close to leaving my job anyway. So I just want to encourage you that sometimes we just know intuitively and internally that it is our time to pursue it. The way that I came to become self-employed was a little bit interesting because, like I said, I didn't plan on becoming self-employed, and over time, after applying to job after job, getting rejected or getting accepted to an arts-related job, and then finding out that the salary was so low that it would be even less than my job at the mall or IHOP. So it was really, really discouraging. It's not that I prioritize money over happiness, but it was just so bad that I would put myself and my family in financial jeopardy at the time. So years went by, I was miserable. I kept trying to find that dream job that existed, and honestly, it just didn't. And if I were honest with myself, I would ask, what do you love doing? Well, I always loved helping people. I was the type of person that people would come to with their problems, with their challenges, in confidentiality. So I thought I could be an art therapist because I was really good at listening to people, and I thought I could combine my love of psychology and helping people with art, and that could be a job. Well, I think I shared the story before, but long story short, the art therapy program accepted me. It was an amazing program, but I did not have the money to pay for it, and I couldn't take out any more debt. So I just knew that during that time, maybe the universe was closing all these doors and showing me that I was meant to create my own job. And little by little, I got more and more signs. I got more and more kind of hope and faith. And I started to feel like maybe it was actually possible for me. But here's the trick. So when I started to feel like it was possible for me, it's not like anything dramatic changed in my life. I wasn't all of a sudden selling paintings for hundreds of thousands of dollars. People weren't lining up at my door for exhibitions. I still didn't have a gallery at that time. I had some local shows that I put up myself, or, I was able to do in collaboration with local businesses. So it's not like on the outside, my world was changing, but I just internally decided. So if you're looking to do something different with your life, maybe you want to write a book or leave your job or start a business, it all starts with a decision and commitment to go after it. And this is the hardest, but the most empowering step. And ever since I made that decision and I kind of knew in my gut, like, I think this is my last day job. And I started affirming it, and I would pace up and down the hallway and I would say, this is my last day job. This is my last day job. So if I were to go back 9 years ago, almost now, and I would tell my younger self to really set myself up for success, here are some things that I would do. And some of them I have done, but here are some things I would do for sure. If I were to go back and give my younger self some words of wisdom, or give you words of wisdom if you are currently looking to transition to self-employment. The first thing that I would prioritize, you might be surprised by this, and it's really, really obvious, but I would 100% start with my painting practice. And I was actually pretty good at that. So I was paranoid about giving up art. I had so many college professors tell us, like, most people who graduate from art school never make art again. And that was a horrifying thing for me. Like, I said, okay, if I can do anything, I have to commit to my practice. So I would paint before work. I would sketch on my lunch break. I would take my days off, and I would have at least a few hours with my art and my paintings. So that's how I kept that going. And that was really, really important. In fact, I would even prioritize that more, because here's the thing. Let's say you want to be a full-time artist and your dream is to make the majority of your income through original art sales. Well, in order to make your goals financially, you're going to need a lot of work, honey. Let me tell you, it takes a lot of work, right? Because we'll get to the next tip and I'll explain why. So I think whether you're doing it, even if you love your day job and you're not planning on leaving it, but you want to be a professional artist, I think the best gift we can give ourselves is to spend the time doing the thing that we say we're going to do. And I already hear the excuses. I don't have a studio. I don't have enough time. Listen, I get it. I didn't either. I, for a long time, painted on the floor. For a long time, painted on the kitchen table. I didn't have a spare room for years. It was only, I think, 2 years into my new day job that we moved to a larger apartment. So I just want to encourage you, like, I know sometimes it feels like the world is set up against you and you don't have this, you don't have the time, you don't have the space. Just do the best that you can with what you have. Start practicing for when you do have the studio, because guess what? Even if you have a fancy big studio like this one I'm in now, like, you still got to show up and do the work. It doesn't matter. So the best gift you can give yourself is to fall in love with your practice, not from a place of pressure, like you should be painting 40 hours a week, but one, from a practical perspective, if you want to show and sell your work, you're going to need a lot of work. And two, to improve your skill and to treat yourself like a professional that shows up and does the work, super, super important. And the benefits and the side effects of doing your art practice is that you are going to be more satisfied, you're going to be happier, whether or not you're at a day job or not. And you're also going to be more peaceful. It helps ease anxiety. And I actually find that I get all my business and money-making ideas while I'm creating or running or walking in nature. So those are the ways that I connect with my soul, I connect with spirit. And so whatever it is for you, I encourage you to prioritize those activities, because I truly believe, and maybe write this down and adopt this belief as well, I'm starting to learn, after years of being self-employed, it's going to be almost a decade, that when I show up for my gifts and when I show up for my true heart desires, such as making art, serving others, writing books, I believe that the universe takes care of me. And it's not so much that you have to wreck your brain figuring out how you're going to make it, what you're going to launch next. It's that from that place of satisfaction and love and connection to both yourself and the universe, you will attract opportunities by being super connected to your intuition and the universe as a whole. It's not the other way around. It's not. I even recorded a podcast episode about this last week. I used to think it's like, okay, I got to sit down, like what's going to make me money? What kind of art should I make that makes money? What kind of art is going to sell? But it's actually, what is your soul calling you? What is the vision that you have inside? Because that's what's trying to come out. And if something is trying to come out of you, you're channeling something that already has a place, whether it's someone's home or someone's museum or gallery or business, right? So just remember that. It's backwards. And I know it's like, well, Kat, how is that practical? Well, trust me, I tried it the other way and prove me wrong. Go ahead and prioritize all the businessy, techie stuff. It's going to suck the soul out of you, your life, and your art practice, and then you're going to be miserable, and you're going to come back and say, Kat, you were right. So start building the foundation of a joyful, deeply fulfilling life, no matter what your finances look like right now. I don't care if you're $200,000 in debt. Live the life that you want to live. Why? Tomorrow is not guaranteed. So yes, we are ambitious, and yes, we're capable of achieving whatever our heart desires, but also knowing and living with the truth that time is not guaranteed, right? It's a gift. All we have is today. So the way that we're able to spend today and do our best in this moment is the only thing that matters. Okay, point number 2. So now that we have a beautiful practice, no matter what, whether we're working somewhere or self-employed or are independently wealthy, the important thing is that we're doing what we love, even just for 25 minutes a day. The next step, let's say you are serious about leaving your day job and you're like, oh my goodness, I need to figure out how the heck to get out of here. I'm drained. I feel like I'm not living my life purpose. 100% get it. And I want to just say, please don't rush this. I would rather you be really prepared and plan a little bit than freak out and have a situation similar to mine, which mine was a little bit unusual because I lost my first business. But anyway, I talked about that in another episode. But what I want to say is the first thing you want to do is you want to take a notebook or a document or a spreadsheet and you want to add up all your expenses. So you're on one column, maybe add up all your personal non-negotiable expenses, your rent, your utilities, getting your hair cut every month, your health insurance, your food, grocery bill, getting your nails done, whatever it is. On the other column, I want you to write down all your business expenses. Maybe you're renting a studio right now. Maybe you are, spending a certain amount on supplies or paint, whatever, equipment, software like Adobe, Photoshop, stuff like that. Add those things up and then get that hard non-negotiable number. And that is the monthly goal for you to start practicing and working towards to show yourself that you're ready to leave your job. And you don't have to hit that goal 100% of the time. But what I want you to do is start to write down money-making ideas. Now it's your turn to write money-making ideas after you establish your practice, right? Now it's time to write down ideas. What do you want to offer people? Do you want to offer prints? Do you want to teach workshops? Do you only want to focus on originals? Just remember, it's your life and everyone's business is different. Everyone has a different bread and butter that for some reason resonates with their audience. The only way to find out is to actually put yourself out there and try things and then start showing yourself that you are capable of it. There's nothing more fulfilling. I remember working at my day job and seeing like additional income coming in, even though I was already making money at my day job. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting closer. And it was really empowering and exciting. The next thing I want you to do is to upgrade your environment. I mentioned earlier that I didn't have anyone that was self-employed or I didn't know anyone who was even a business owner in this creative field. And so I really didn't know anything. So it would be really helpful to talk to people who were maybe a few steps ahead of me. So if you're able to attend local workshops, join a community, check out my community, the Art Queens. We always love to share and support each other. We have queens who support themselves with original art sales only. We have queens who are art therapists, coaches. So I just want to say there are no rules for how you become a full-time artist. Let's just get rid of that stigma now. It's not just about selling your art like hotcakes. Yes, that can be a beautiful path. I have many friends who do that, but maybe you're multi-gifted and maybe you're also amazing at teaching people, or maybe you create beautiful retreats or experiences. So don't close your mind to this. Keep an open mind and allow for abundance to come through in various ways. This is really, really important because we get stuck, and I'm guilty of this too. We're like, this has to work. I have to make all my money this way. But the universe sometimes has a different idea for us. So I just want to encourage you to keep an open mind, write down all money-making ideas, and then start implementing them, especially as you have the safety net of your day job. You can use your day job as like an investor, right? The next thing I want you to do is I want you to start practicing living your life as if you're already self-employed. I'm obviously not saying to skip work, but when you are at work, do an amazing job. Be an exceptional employee. The reason being is you're telling your brain that you are taking this opportunity that you currently have seriously, and it's going to translate to your own business, right? You want to do an extraordinary job managing your finances, treating your employees well. So it helps to kind of play pretend a little bit. So instead of saying like, oh, here comes another customer, or my students are being really difficult, pretend like they are your collectors. Maybe, sometimes customers are obnoxious. I'm not saying that this works all the time, but on an average typical day, just pretend like you are already self-employed and these are your collectors. And it's going to help you get in the mindset of taking ownership and also being your own best personal brand, right? You are the representative of your brand. It doesn't matter what company you work for. It's all on you. So therefore, if you do an excellent job with an employer, it's going to be even easier for you to do an excellent job doing something that you really love, right? So you can actually quantum leap when you stop judging your current situation and just start being your very best self in it. I swear to you, that's the only shortcut that I know, but for me, it really works. Plus, it made the time go by faster. I remember I was on the phone and I kind of made a commitment that I'm going to be wonderful to every person who calls, no matter how annoying they are. And I'll admit, I'm human, so I had some bad days too. But I would just say, I'm just going to be the kindest, sweetest, most empathetic, best listener, go above and beyond to treat everyone who comes my way incredibly. And that was an act of faith for me, right? That was an act of faith because instead of saying like, oh, I'm stuck at this horrible job, please get me out of here, I was able to really say, I am serving my community right now. My community is not necessarily my dream, but I'm still showing up and serving my community. And the other thing I want you to get in the habit of is to normalize the experiences that you want to have. So for example, if you're dreaming of being in an art fair, visit that art fair as much as you can. If you want to see your work in a White Cube gallery, make a point to once a month or at least every other month, go to a bigger city and visit the kind of galleries that you want to work with and normalize those experiences, right? This can be really, really healthy for you. And if you're not able to travel, if you live like in a really rural area and it's really difficult, watch interviews on YouTube, subscribe to art magazines, read art blogs, listen to art podcasts with people who inspire you. And this way it's going to rub off on you. It's going to help you normalize that level of success. You're also going to hear people who are self-employed and get ideas for all the different ways that they're supporting themselves, whether they work through galleries or maybe they're independent and they sell their own work from their studio, or maybe it's a combination of both. In my business right now, when I first started, it was mostly original art sales. I had a few commissions and my magazine business was, small at the time, but it was growing. And then as I grew my business, when I lost my first magazine, I actually really went hard on the second magazine, Create, which is why I grew so fast, but it became sort of more of my income stream, but it flip-flops. Like for example, during my exhibition season, I might make more of my money from my art. And then if I'm resting like I am right now, I might focus on my other offers like education and brand partnerships and curatorial opportunities. So know that when you're self-employed, it's a little bit different than working for an employer because you can move around. So if you get bored easily or you need a break from a certain type of art you're making, you can switch things around and you can try different things. And you can also have an area of your business that's kind of like your constant bread and butter. For some people, it's prints. For some people, it's small originals. For some people, it's large commissions. Once you start doing this work and practicing, you're gonna know what those things are. And they may evolve over time too. So the other tip I have is to just be flexible. Be like water, my friend. Life changes all the time. Business changes all the time. The art world changes all the time. So as someone who is self-employed, it is my responsibility to educate myself on what's going on in the news, and also not to get discouraged when something that used to work in the past no longer works. It happens. It just actually recently happened to me. So you got to reframe that and remind yourself that you're resourceful, you're capable, you're creative, and you can figure anything out. Whew. All right, so I hope these tips empower you. If you need to listen to this again, go ahead. I also want to share a special treat. I have a free class called How to Become a Full-Time Artist. You can listen to it at your own pace, and you can email me if you have any questions. There's also 2 free gifts in there to help you with the transition as well. So go ahead and sign up in the show notes, and it's completely free. Invite a friend to join you and watch it. I share lots of love and valuable tips with you in there to help you make a plan. Because once you identify like how much you actually need to survive, what you want to do, you can start acting as if and showing up like the artist that is already self-employed, that's already getting the best opportunities. And even while you're waiting to leave your day job, it's going to make your time go by so much quicker. You're going to enjoy your life more, and sooner or later you're gonna put in those 2 weeks, walk out those doors, and celebrate your first full day of being self-employed. It's truly the best feeling ever. And I also want to say this too, self-employment is not for everyone. If you need to rely on a company's health insurance or other types of benefits, it's completely okay. And the reason why I'm sharing this is for those who are looking to become self-employed. But being self-employed has nothing to do with how professional you are as an artist. It doesn't limit you to the kind of exhibitions or opportunities you get. So even if you have a day job, just know you're not limited to any level of success that you want to reach. There's musicians who have jobs, there's artists who have jobs. Most artists have income other than original art sales, whether they're teaching or have side projects or do brand collaborations or royalties. So just know, take the pressure off. Just because someone is self-employed doesn't mean they get to paint more than you. Sometimes they get sucked into admin stuff. So it's what you choose. So just know what your values are. For me, my values are freedom. I love to be able to take control of my schedule. I also struggle with some health stuff, some women's stuff. So for me, if I'm not feeling well, it's so nice to be able to not have to go into an office. So I made the decision that being self-employed at this stage of my life for the past 10 years has been the right decision. And if it ever changes, I would never shame myself. In fact, that was one of the promises I made to myself when I left the day job, is that I said, even if I have to go back, I will never be mad and I won't feel like a failure, because this was a grand experiment and so far so good. Sending you so much love. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe and turn on notifications so I can keep sharing some goodies with you. I'll see you soon.